Welcome back, class. This video is going to demonstrate how to begin your still life drawing using my example from yesterday's video. So please watch this video carefully so you understand exactly how to use basic shapes to 1. Map out the space of your paper, and 2. Make sure each object is in proper proportion before you worry about any line details. So we are not focusing on adding any line details today. We are focusing specifically on just the shapes and proportions. So in front of me I have my 5 objects that were in yesterday's video, and this is my still life arrangement. Now you will of course have your photo in front of you with your paper also in front of you, and you are going to first figure out how to get each object to fill the space. And the first step is to figure out where each object fits in the paper by drawing it in a basic space. So if I get rid of my original photo, the image on the left here, this represents my hand, this small oval represents the pumpkin, this big oval represents the duck, this is the lamp, and then here the coffee pot. Does that look like a lamp, coffee pot, and the other objects? No, but that's the space where they exist. So you first very lightly will draw that with your pencil. You draw those basic shapes on your paper. Now you're not copying this video, but you would figure out the shapes of your objects and where they would go. I would just stick with basic circles, squares, rectangles if needed for your objects, but the first step is again to map out the space, to draw your objects, to section the spaces where they exist on your paper. Once you have that, then you want to start using shape to figure out the proportions. So if I were to use this my red ink here, then that's going to represent the hand, the details of the hand below. So I broke down the different shapes of the hand as it exists in the space. So once I'm done the hand, I'll no longer need the shapes. The shapes served its purpose. So you're not necessarily tracing the first shapes. They just help map out where your object's going to go. Then you figure out the actual details of the object after. So just to kind of circle back there real quick, you first have your photo, and then you figure out with basic shapes where everything goes in your paper. This allows you to fill the entire paper. Then you are going to add the specific shapes to figure out the proportions of each object as they exist within those spaces. So please remember, the initial shapes you're drawing are just a framework, a map for where your object's going to go, and then you add the details after the fact. So I kind of fast forwarded here to show all my shapes, to demonstrate the proportions of all my objects, and that everything fits on my paper as I want it to. And then once you have all the proportions of your shapes determined, you can now start adding the final details. Now as far as today's assignment goes, you're only required to submit a photo of something like I have in front of me here, to use basic shapes to map out your space and determine the proportions, the sizes of each one of your objects. And then tomorrow you're going to continue in this video and add specific details to each object. I'm going to demonstrate that now for at least the hand, and then I'll continue the rest of the objects in the next class's video. So I'm going to zoom in, and with these shapes of the hand, these are just a guide. So now I can use these guides of the shape, and I can start to detail my hand as I see it. Notice how I'm going outside my circles. Sometimes I'm going inside my circles. The circles are just guides. They are not an end-all be-all where you're just supposed to trace over it. So I'm drawing my objects, the details of my hand here, and I'm changing it as I feel it is necessary. Some of these shapes are just a little too small. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, draw the wrist. I think there were some veins in the hand here, some other details. So now if I hide all the other objects just to show you what I've done with the hand itself, that is my detailed hand. So the shapes of the hand that I built, the first basic shapes, figuring out where the hand was going to go, and then the shapes that determine the proportions allow me to ultimately create that final detail. So please make sure you're using shapes to map out your spaces today so your entire paper can be filled. Then figure out your proportions, and then tomorrow we're going to practice adding more line detail to basically finish the line detailing of your project. All right, that's it for this video. Please make sure you follow the steps and submit a photo of your final project with the space mapped out and the proportions of each object determined. If you need any help, please message me. I'll be happy to help you and give you feedback. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing your sketches and seeing how you guys see what you took away from this video. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good class. Bye.